Hello guys and welcome to Odds on Serie A and welcome to Odds on Coppa Italia, because we have a special video with a lot of Italian football in this week with Daniele Fisichella. How are you, Danny?
Ciao Edu, all very well. So yeah, Coppa Italia midweek, the derby of Milan, Juventus Fiorentina, see who books a place in the final on the 11th of May, and of course the title race, relegation battle, place for Europe, more exciting than ever.
We've gonna analyze every single game, so you can jump actually to the game you want in the timestamps in the comment section. Remember also to leave your comments and of course press the like and subscribe. And now let's go on with the show. And we are going to start with the semifinals of Coppa Italia that we have in the middle of the week. Actually, on Tuesday tonight, we have another Derby de la Madonnina, Inter Milan. It was a long time ago, Danny, in case you don't remember. I'm sure you, Danny, do, but perhaps some other people, they don't. It was a goalless draw, 0-0, so everything is very open. The two teams that are fighting for the Scudetto. We still remember the victory of the Rossoneri over Inter that opened this Serie A. Danny, it's going to be a cagey one. We expect that. It's very difficult, I think, to bet in this football game, actually.
It is going to be cagey, especially because the away goal rule still counts. It's a very strange thing. Everywhere in the continent doesn't count, but in Coppa Italia still does. So a draw with goals will qualify Milan, as it happened in the famous Champions League semi-final of 2002-2003. 0-0 the first game, second game 1-1, and Milan went on to the final to win in Old Trafford. But this is obviously very, very different. Now Inter and Milan are fighting for the Scudetto. Many in Italy say that who wins this game, who qualifies for the final in the 11th of May in Rome, will then be favorite to win the Scudetto. I am not sure, because the fixtures, the run of fixtures in Serie A are very different for Inter and Milan. Milan have a slightly more difficult calendar. Look, the last game was very boring, was drab, 0-0. Inter were in the middle of a crisis. Milan were not scintillating either. The only possible result was a 0-0. And now Inter and Milan are in a better form. They both won at the weekend. But, for Inter, it was the win at Torino against Juventus that revitalized them. I don't think they had many hopes to fight for the title until they won without deserving in Turin. And Milan, at the moment, they don't concede goals, but they do struggle to score. So let's try to break it down a little bit, the numbers of these two teams that know each other very well. This is going to be the fourth derby of the season. No wins for Inter so far in the derbies, 2 draws and 1 win for Milan. So Inter won at the weekend in Siena, thanks to an opening goal from Brozovic. Very, very important, key player. You can tell when he's missing. And now they scored with 17 different players in Serie A, and they found again the goal of Lautaro Martinez, back in form, very hungry for more. So that's a good news for Inzaghi, who can also count on the imprevedibility of Correa. Milan, they're struggling for goal, we said. In the first 19 games, they scored 40 goals. Only 12 goals scored in the last 12. They are missing a few things. They are missing the midfielders going to the box and scoring. Kessié would be the great player to do that, but he's going through a difficult period also, because probably he knows he's going to leave on a free at the end of the season. Yes, of course. Then they're missing Rebic, which is back, and the way he stretches the defense. They're missing Ibrahimovic. They're missing Brahim Diaz. Last goal for Brahim Diaz back in November, if I'm not wrong. So anyway, they're missing the creativity of the players. But very solid at the back. Milan, so are Inter. Milan, 6 consecutive clean sheets with the win 2-0 against Genoa. Actually, for Mike Magnan, make it 7, because he also kept a clean sheet with France when he was playing against South Africa in a friendly. The third and second best defense, respectively, for Inter and Milan when they play at home. Inter plays at home this game, but it doesn't really matter. Look, as I said, they all know each other very, very well, and they know what the strengths and weaknesses are of both teams. For Inter, the way they can upset Milan is with the movement of Çalhanoğlu and Barella, who breaks the lines. They're a little bit anarchic, if you like, but they can upset some of the Milan midfielders. They're difficult to mark. For Inter, the issue is when Leao and Messias play on the wings, and they force Skriniar and Bastoni to defend really, really wide. So there is space in the middle for some runners for Milan. Again, if they find the goals from midfield, I would expect maybe Inzaghi to be a little bit cautious on this one. Maybe choose Darmian instead of Dumfries to play on the right-hand side. So try to mark Leao up the pitch. Other than that, they will go with the best 11. Of course, look, this is going to be cagey. I don't think we're going to see a lot of goals, especially initially for this one, because, as I said, the away goal rules count. So Inter will be cautious, not try to concede. I'm going to go for an under 1 goal in the first half, which pays 189. So if there's only 1 goal in the first half, you don't lose your stake. If the first half end 0-0, as it did in the first leg, you win 189.
If you check the under market in the full time, we have odds 1.9 for under 2.5 goals, 2.67 for under 2 goals. So these are other options. If you expect a cagey one, May is expecting few goals as well. Inter to qualify under 2.5 goals, 2-0 Inter, correct score. Danny is wishing that result. Both teams both teams to score is for Purplito. Well, this is it pays more because we don't expect many goals, and as Danny was analyzing, Milan are not conceding goals and have trouble also to score. So I guess we shouldn't expect many goals in this derby della Madonnina. And the final, the winner will play against Juve or Fiorentina. Here, Juve with advantage. They won 1-0 in the Artemio Franchi, a goal scored in the last minutes. But Danny is the only option, I guess, for Max Allegri to save the campaign, the season for Juventus. Not even winning the Coppa Italia could be, I think, saving this very bad season for Juve. Another disappointing result against Bologna. Even Allegri saying that they won 1 point, even if they ended the game with playing against 9 players. So it's very disappointing for this Juventus. This is the massive rivalry for Fiorentina, arriving to this game in the best moment of the season, even without Vlahovic. Can we expect a surprise? I think Fiorentina can do it. They show it, for instance, in Naples, that they are able to win in tough stadiums.
Yeah, and the win like the one they got in Naples would qualify Fiorentina. Fiorentina won twice in Naples, so 5-3, 3-1. So yeah, Fiorentina have got in their strings to go away and win. Of course, the away goals means that Juventus can also afford a draw or to lose 1-0. They go to extra time. Fiorentina needs to score 2. Juventus won the first leg in lucky circumstances. It was an own goal in the last minutes. Fiorentina had many chances with Jonathan Icone, couldn't convert them, and Juventus took a step back against Bologna, 1-1 draw. Maybe Bologna deserved more. And if you look at the stats at home, Juventus this season, only 9 home wins in Serie A after 17 games. And this is the worst record since Juventus moved into the new Juventus Stadium over 10 years ago. Normally, it's a fortress, the stadium, but this season, it hasn't been. And yeah, when you talk about a very disappointing season for them, well, they were the favorite to win the title at the beginning of the season. If you check our first show, Juventus had like a odd 1.70 to win the title. And now they can get maximum to 78 points so far this season, which is the same result as Pirlo last year. Juventus tend to start the game not really well. 11 times they went behind this season. They conceded first, and only twice they managed to overturn the result and win. Now, if Fiorentina scored the first goal, the game changes completely. So this is a game really could be decided by who scored the first goal. Now, Fiorentina win at the weekend against Venezia, not scintillating, 1-0. You know, of the last 4 of the last 6 wins have been 4-0 for Fiorentina. But in the last 9 games in Serie A, Fiorentina would be top of the table. They are unbeaten. In fact, in the last 6, only lost 1 of the last 5 away games, and they always scored in the last 5 away games. So these are all numbers that could make you believe that Fiorentina can go to the stadium and score goals against Vlahovic. Everyone was wondering, are they going to be worse against Vlahovic without Vlahovic? Well, the numbers tell you a different story. They've not been scoring as much as with Vlahovic, but in the 22 games with Vlahovic this season, average points 1.64 per game. In the 9 games without Vlahovic this season in Serie A, average point 1.89. So that means the style of play is more important sometimes than the players. Both to score, both teams to score. I like it a lot. 195, opposite to the derby. This is going to be, I think, a high-scoring game.
And you have Lucas Torreira to score the goals.
Goal scorer, yes, he scores all the time. Yes. And you got Cabral playing more. Nicola Gonzalez, good form. Icone scored his first goal as well. But don't take anything away from Juventus, who have been much better in the Girone del Ritorno and the reverse fixtures. They will be top of the league in the last 15 games. So don't take nothing for granted. Both to score, I think, is the best way.
Very tough, these 2 semifinals. Idris is going for Juve to win. Actually, the odds are good, 1.95. But as Danny said, be careful, because Juve, they are not as convincing playing at home as they used to be. And we've seen them dropping points in Serie A. So talking about Serie A, let's switch. And let's switch and let's move to the games we have this weekend, and this is match day number 34, and we have 4 games on Saturday, starting with Torino Spezia. Danny, I remember you telling me when Torino was traveling to the capital, be careful with this game because they are able to get points, and they actually drew against Lazio. Recently, they also get points against Milan. They are competitive, although only 1 victory in the last 11 games, so it's not astonishing the latest results. Now they are super favorites to beat Spezia, completely safe. You mentioned their defeat against Inter. They can be calm, actually, for this game. Nothing to play for, almost, I would say, for Spezia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they will be safe. Then, depending on the result of Genoa Cagliari, if it's a draw there, for example, yes, Spezia will be absolutely fine, which is a massive achievement for Thiago Motta and his very young squad. Torino deserved the point at the Olympio against Lazio. They are winless in the last 5 home games. They used to be very, very strong at home, but the last 2 home games, they were draws against Milan and Inter. They only conceded 1 against these 2 teams, so they could be happy with that. Only 16 goals conceded for Torino at home. They are a strong defense. They don't concede many clear chances. Even Lazio, with the top scorer Immobile, really struggled to find the goal, only scoring the injury time. And the last 6 games of Torino, they've all been under 2.5 goals. So you can see where I'm going here. Spezia, mid-table. They are away, they're mid-table. They're doing well. They picked up some very good points there. They have got the worst defense away, 37 goals conceded away, alongside Salernitana. They are winless in the last 5 away games, Spezia, so hence that's why the odds are favorite for Torino, although they picked up, as I said, 3 consecutive wins back in December, November, Napoli, Genoa, Milan, and that was basically keeping them safe so far this season. But as I said, Torino games lately have not produced a lot of goals. Go for under 2.5 goals, 188.
2 points in the last 5 away games for Spezia, even if they won, as you mentioned, some games in Naples or in Milan. Bonio is asking us for Alvaro. Well, we had Alvaro yesterday analyzing La Liga with us.
I'm your expert for Serie A. I mean, I'm sure he knows, but I wouldn't go and do a La Liga show. I mean,
exactly.
I'll have to study too much.
We had Alvaro analyzing with us the La Liga, because today also there are some games of La Liga. But let's jump back to the Serie A, Danny. Venezia, Atalanta. We saw Atalanta losing again, and this is very worrying for the Bergamaschi, 5 points away from Europe, and at the beginning of the season we expected them even to fight for the Scudetto, 3 consecutive defeats for them. Luckily, they are traveling nearby to Venezia, which are completely doomed. It's now or never for Atalanta to bounce back and at least put a fight until the end of the season for Europe.
Well, Venezia have got a game in hand, which they need to play next Wednesday, but this is really last chance. They lost 1-0 at Florence, but they didn't have many chances, and they lost all the last 7 games. Venezia at home, very poor form, far from bottom. The second worst attack at home, only 10 goals scored for Venezia, for a newly promoted side team that normally build their success at home. They only won 2 games at home all season, one against Fiorentina, one against Roma, in lucky circumstances. In the Girone di Ritorno, so in the second round of fixtures, they are bottom, only 5 points in the Girone di Ritorno. So they are a team in crisis that cannot find really a way to score. But also Atalanta, they are in crisis as well. 3rd consecutive defeat yesterday against Verona. Deserved to lose. They conceded in both halves. And this is the first time they lost 3 consecutive games under Gasperini. Actually, make it 4 because they also lost against Leipzig at home in the Europa League. Away Atalanta, they used to be a bit better at the beginning of the season. They really had a slump since the new year. They lost 3 of the last 4 away games. In the away table, they're not too bad because they did really well at the beginning of the season. They got the same points as Inter, by the way. But again, in the second half of the season, so since 2022, they've already lost 6 games, and this is the first time it happened since 2015, 2016. Normally Atalanta, they finish the season very strong, but this season they're having issues with some injuries. They cannot hit form, they cannot produce and create enough chances. In fact, their goal tally, it's very poor. I don't understand why Atalanta are so favorite at the moment. Also, you have to consider Atalanta plays pretty much for nothing. They might not be in Europe next season. A new owner, American, is taking over. Probably is going to be a rebuild of the team, of the club. So, this could be really maybe the end of the cycle for Atalanta, disappointingly, because they haven't won anything despite playing so well. Whereas for Venezia, the motivation are going to be very high. For this reason, I'm going to go for a half chance in the second half, 1x. So either win or draw for Venezia in the second half. So it doesn't mean Atalanta cannot win the game, but in the second half, 1x, 2-1.
Okay, you have some hope in Venezia, the biggest game of the match day, Inter Roma. Mourinho going back to Inter ground. He also traveled there in the Coppa, we have to say, and Roma was defeated, but now, Danny, we are seeing the best Roma of the season. They got a draw in Napoli, playing really well, got in the draw in the last minute with El Shaarawy. The problem is that Zaniolo was injured, so perhaps he's missing this game. I saw all the Roma supporters very happy with Mourinho. There is another atmosphere in the capital, and perhaps Roma can take advantage of Inter being tired after the semi-final against Milan.
Yeah, you have to see before putting a bet, before assessing the game. Obviously, you need to watch the derby of tonight. Roma is going to be for sure without Zaniolo because he also picked up a yellow card, so he would have been suspended, which got Mourinho really angry. A yellow card for dissent, but yes, a slight injured. But he should be able to play against Leicester in the Conference League next week in the semi-final. Roma, tough to beat, really tough to beat. They perhaps deserve even to win at Napoli. A very good second half. They were 1-0 behind. They created a lot of chances. They kept attacking. Spalletti ended with 5 defenders. Mourinho kept putting strikers on the pitch. Afenagyan, because of Gianniolo, got injured. Then Carles Perez, El Shaarawy, who got the goal. So good performance for Roma. I think they hit form. I think now Mourinho knows his team much better. Maybe the 6-1 defeat at Bodo Glimt back in November helped them to understand who were the players he could count on, who were the players he couldn't count on. Got some reinforcement in the market, transfer market, especially with Sergio Oliveira in January. And now Mourinho, yes, has got a team that is tough to beat. maybe too late to qualify for Champions League, but they can definitely challenge for the Conference League. Also, they score a lot of late goals lately. They stay in the game much more. And by the way, at Napoli, they pick up the draw, and that was the first time this season that they didn't lose away to a top side. This Roma cannot beat top sides yet, but they deserve much more. Now, Inter, in the reverse fixtures, they won 3-0 at Roma. Probably the best game of the season for Inter, but Roma had a lot of absentees, but that was the time when Inter were playing the best football. They also won 2-0 in Coppa Italia. They were fairly convincing then. As I said before, Inter looked a little bit sharper against Spezia. Is never an easy place to go. Lautaro looked hungrier. He started from the bench. He scored a goal, created the assist. Barella seemed to be revitalized since Italy got knocked out by North Macedonia. Something must have happened in Barella. Was having a poor season, and now he's almost the old Barella. And obviously, the return of Brozovic so important. Still waiting to see whether Gosens will ever make an appearance from the first minute. But Inter has everyone fit, or should have everyone fit, after the derby, after this crucial game, because then they go away to Bologna midweek, the game that they got in hand. It won't be easy for Inter this one, but best attack of Serie A as well. Roma is a team full of confidence. I would go for goals, and in this case I would go for over 1.5 goals in the second half, which pays 194.
Marco is going for a draw, 4.3. I was checking the head-to-head between these two teams, and it's 10 undefeated games for Inter, really positive. Yes. The head-to-head for Inter this season, remember that they've already beat Roma twice. Also, we have on Saturday, last game, Verona Sampdoria. Verona ending very well the season. The victory against Atalanta at home, very strong. 4 victories out of the last 5. Totally the opposite for Sampdoria. Gianpaolo is not clicking with Sampdoria. The defeat against Salernitana might hurt them. Luckily for them, Danny, the teams below them are not getting points. 6 defeats in the last 7 games. Next game is the Derby della Lanterna. Travel for the Blue Cerchiati.
Yeah, it is, because if Genoa beats Cagliari this weekend, which they might, and then they got the derby against Sampdoria, they might be dragged back into the relegation scrap. The thing is that, the key players, the quality players, they're not delivering as they expected. The shocking defeat against Salernitana, they conceded 2 goals in the first 8 minutes. The only good news is that Damsgaard, the Dane that they missed for all the season, he's back. He came from the bench, and maybe could give them a little bit more of quality. They lost 11 out of their 14 games in the new year, and this is a joint bad record with Mallorca. So, talking about teams that are doing really, really bad. Already lost 10 games away. Sampdoria, and they struggle to score. Sometimes when they play away, like they play at Bologna 2 weeks ago, they are too timid, only scoring 2 of the last 7 away games. So 5 away games without scoring. Verona playing good, creating chances at Bergamo, taking advantage of the fact that Atalanta left a lot of space, and they dominated the game. They deserve to win. Could they even leapfrog Atalanta and finish 8th in the table? That would be a massive result for a team that has changed the manager at the beginning of the season from Di Francesco to Tudor. Things have been working really, really well. They are the second top scorer, Verona, in the new year, and they won 4 of the last 5 at home, and they've scored at home in 15 out of 16 games at the Bentegodi. Could be a high-scoring game. Verona could go for it, really. Maybe an Asian handicap on the card, but I like more the over 2.5 goals, 190.
Okay, Marco, thanks for your kind words, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then Sunday, Salernitana, Fiorentina. Perhaps this one is good to back a dark horse, an underdog in this case, like Salernitana, taking in consideration that they are coming from that victory in Genoa. At home, they've drawn a lot of games recently, but as we were mentioning before, of course, Fiorentina really informed. Danny, last 5 games, 4 victories, 1 draw against Inter. The problem for them going forward and looking for qualifying for Europe is that they have a tough calendar. Fiorentina, they have to play Roma and Milan, for instance, soon.
And they got a game in hand on Wednesday against Tori, Atalanta. I don't remember. They got a game in hand anyway midweek, so they could make up ground. I think it's either Udinese or Atalanta against Juventus, but Fiorentina are doing really, really well. They are unbeaten, longest unbeaten streak since 2000. Udinese, not an easy game for Fiorentina, but they got the longest unbeaten streak, this Fiorentina, since 2018, 2019. They score less than before, as we mentioned, since they lost Vlahovic, but they are more effective. 4 of the last 6 wins, in fact, have been 1-0. Great performance the last away game at the Maradona. The chances, hit Napoli on the break, very effective, won there 3-2, although strangely they still have a negative goal difference, Fiorentina, -5 when they travel in Serie A. Let's see what happens at the Juventus Stadium in the semi-final first. So we'll check the lineup. It's a bit difficult to predict 2 games beforehand. And they play this Salernitana side. They have got actually 2 games in hand. The first is against Udinese, that's tomorrow on Wednesday, and the other one next week. So should they win them all, they will be back in the fight. It is a bit unlikely. For Salernitana, also because their home form has not been great. 3 of their 4 wins have come on the road. They could hope maybe not to finish bottom, also because, as I said, midweek, the other game in hand is against Venezia. Can they do the miracle? I don't think they can, but they'll be more entertaining. They'll be more of a team. This could be another spectacular game, I think. It could be a good over 2.5 goals. Doesn't pay amazingly well. So go for goals in the second half in this case, and over 1.5 goals in the second half. Usually that's where there is the value. So 2 goals or more in the second half, 205.
Okay, then we have Bologna, Udinese, actually. Finally Udinese. Both teams in the middle of the table, nothing to play for, so perhaps we see goals. The situation then is that both teams are in good run. Bologna, 3 positive results against Juve, against Sam, against Milan, so top teams, and Udinese also 3 consecutive victories, scoring many goals. We mentioned that when they were playing against Empoli. Perhaps also this is an over, no?
There is a bit of a caveat, really, because yes, they are 2 of the most informed teams here. But if we break down the number, for example, 11 goals for Deulofeu, he's the best scorer in Italy in his career, scored for 3 consecutive games, so he's going to be playing. 12 goals for Arnautovic so far in Serie A. He scored Bologna last 6 goals, so he's scoring them all. The problem is he's suspended because he picked up a yellow card, so he's not going to be playing this one, alongside Medel and Sumaro, who got sent off in the chaotic finale at the Juventus Stadium. So Bologna missing 3 key players. Medel, really, really important to start the play from the back. But having a good end of the season. Only one defeat at home for Bologna in the last 5. Udinese away, only won 1 of the last 6, but because they're playing more freely with Deulofeu, with Beto, with Success, with Molina up the pitch, Pereira is back, they always scored in the last 3 away games, Udinese, including, of course, 1-1 at Milan. In the last 6 games, this Udinese would be Champions League material. They would be 4th in the last 6 games, 1 point behind Inter, Milan, and Fiorentina. Tough run of fixtures for Udinese, because now tomorrow they play Salernitana home, again that they target to win. Maybe after the Bologna one, because they will rotate players, because then they got Udinese Salernitana tomorrow, Bologna Udinese on Saturday, and then Fiorentina Udinese midweek. This is a team that maybe is not built to play every 3 days. Let's see what kind of rotation they make. But, the fact that Bologna misses Arnautovic make me think that this could be an under or a cagey game. First half draw, 220.
Okay, Bologna, Udinese, draw with both teams to score. Is Marco
1-1.
Telling us? Maybe. Then Empoli, Napoli. Napoli, are they out of the Scudetto race? We spoke about that some weeks ago, and then they won and they were back to the race. I wouldn't rule them out yet after the draw against Roma. The thing is that at home they are losing. Actually, the Scudetto away, they are very reliable. 3 consecutive victories. Remember, playing against top teams, Lazio, Atalanta, and Verona. And this Empoli is one of the worst teams done in 2022. So I guess we should expect Napoli to bounce back, no? Spalletti was very angry even with De Laurentiis, eh?
Well, I think Napoli might have done a curse on Empoli because they are winless since the 13th of December, which is 16 games, which, by the way, was Napoli nil, Empoli 1. They scored a lucky goal with Cutrone. The ball hit the back of his head. He didn't even notice, and it went in. And that was the last time Empoli won. By the way, they're still 12 points above salvation, so they're going to be easily saved for all the good job they did in the first half of the season. They got the third worst defense of Serie A. They conceded 60 goals. In the last 14, they conceded 26 goals. At home, they are dreadful. Worse home defense with 38, and they only collected 13 points at home. But it's not just the numbers, the statistics. You know, sometimes the numbers can lie. Imagine if Empoli were very, very unlucky. No, they weren't. They're not being unlucky. They got really the results they deserve. They were dismantled by Udinese at the weekend. So it is a chance for Napoli to bounce back, maybe now without pressure, maybe now with no real hope to challenge for the title. They can consolidate the third place. Normally away, they have been much better. They are the best away defense. Only one away defeat so far this season, 3-2 at Inter. Again, a game they could have drawn. There was the injury of Osimhen, I remember, Mario Rui having a massive chance at the end. So Napoli on the road are reliable. The problem for Spalletti is that they've lost that defensive solidity, which that was the key of their success at the beginning. In the last 7 games, they conceded 8 goals. They're not as sharp as they used to be. And also, maybe they're a little bit passive, a little bit scared of winning. You know, Spalletti ended the game against Roma with 5 defenders. He switched to the back 3, but basically was a back 5. That should have stopped Roma attacking, but Roma kept attacking. And in the end, they scored. I think if the game had it lasted other 5 minutes, Roma could have actually won it. They won 5 of the last 6 away games, Napoli, but they're going to be missing 2 key players here. Lobotka, who's the guy pulling the strings. So if Brozovic is the key man for Inter, Lobotka is the main man for Napoli. And also they're going to miss Koulibaly, who had a very good game against Roma. It could be a low-scoring game. Napoli might be 1-0 winner, 2-0 winners, but you know the odds for under 2.75 goals are very good, 203. So even if there are 3 goals, in this case, you only lose half your stake.
Napoli straight win for Tebogo. I'm sure Milan and Inter will drop points. So if Napoli keep winning and away they are very solid, I think there is still a chance to fight again for the Scudetto. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they win them all, if Napoli wins them all, win all the last 5, they will get to the final day of the season with a chance to win for sure.
Indeed. Next game. This is the fearsome game. Danger. Genoa, Cagliari, 6 points between these 2 teams. It will be, in my opinion, almost over the relegation battle if Cagliari draw or win for sure. In Genova, 3 consecutive defeats for Blessing men for Cagliari. That victory against Sassuolo before 5 consecutive defeats. Difficult to trust any of these teams, perhaps because Genoa is unable to score. Cagliari, lately we don't see many goals in the games as well, Danny, and under, no, also because they will be very shaky, I guess, and with fears in this game that can put Genoa in Serie B.
Well, it is a game that nobody can afford to lose. Whoever loses this game, even if Cagliari got 6 points on the relegation zone, it is in real danger of going down. Also because Genoa won the reverse fixtures 3-2 at Cagliari. I'm sure it won't be a 3-2 this time. So Genoa can finish level on point with Cagliari if also they win this one. and then still be saved. Cagliari have got the destiny in their hands because they also go to Salerno and to Venezia. So they go away to all the three teams that will be at the moment relegated. They need to manage not to concede too many goals, maybe come with three draws away, and they will be safe, because then the home game for Cagliari, the last home games, are difficult. Genoa, of course, I've got the derby next week, so if they win this one, or even if they avoid to lose this one and beat Sampdoria, they can then drag the city rivals into the relegation scrap. So it is a game that really nobody can afford to lose. And now the issue with Genoa is that, again, they look compact, they look solid, they're more cohesive, more of a unit, they run more sacrifice. They cannot score. Only 4 goals scored in the last 13, and at home they are the worst attack. Only 11 goals scored. In fact, they only won one game, 1-0 Genoa so far this season against Torino. Cagliari won at the weekend against Sassuolo, first win after 5 defeat, and is quite surprising that they only kept the second clean sheets of the entire season. Cagliari is a team that really has got issues at the back when they travel. They don't score many lately, as again the goals have dried up. Only 13 goals scored in 16 games for Cagliari. Although Cagliari now at the moment are saved because they won 3 important games away in 2022: Sampdoria, Torino, and Atalanta. Can they go there and win again? I don't know. I think Mazzarri, knowing the importance of this game, he'll probably try to sit back very, very deep and defend. First half, draw 2-11.
Under 3.5 goals, Tebogo, of course, I think no one expects many goals. The problem is that it doesn't pay that much. That is going for a double chance. First half draw. Under 2.5 goals, for instance, pays only 1.7. So imagine what the bookies expect about this game. Then back to the Scudetto fight, Lazio Milan. See, Inter Roma, Lazio Milan is going to be an interesting match day. We saw this game also in Coppa Italia, Milan winning both games against Lazio this season, 4-0 and 2-0 in Serie A. Last season, though, Lazio won 3-0 at the Olimpico. Danny, we spoke before a lot about Milan and that they are not conceding goals. They have problem also scoring. For Lazio, they are still very close to Europe, as you mentioned before or last week. No, they had traveled to beat Torino, but they are kind of all right. I think this is a dangerous game for Milan.
Yes, it could be, because Lazio, they're the second best attack at home so far this season. They only lost one home game in Serie A since November, and that was 2-1 to Napoli. And they only failed to score once at home this season when they lost 2-0 to Juventus. But this is a team like Roma that in the second half of the season have improved a lot. I feel since they're not playing the European Cups anymore, Sarri has got more time to spend with the players on the training pitch, and they are improving, they are progressing. This 4-3-3 is being more bed into the players' mind. I think still Sarri will need more kind of his players, maybe up front. Anderson and Pedro haven't quite delivered as he expected, but they are on the good pathway, also because they got a proven goal scorer, 25th goal for Immobile at the weekend, in the last few minutes of the game against Torino. Not a great game for Lazio. 10th assist for Milinkovic-Savic. So again, when you got players like Milinkovic-Savic, Luis Alberto, also Zaccagni at the moment is having a bit of a dip in form, but you can always be creating chances. So yes, Lazio will be fighting for a place in the Europa League. At the moment, they are not in the Europa League spots or in the not in the Conference League spots, so they need the points to make sure they play in Europe next season. As I said before about Milan, have they lost the spark a bit? I think they lost a little bit of creativity. They have become a little bit more predictable, also because they're missing some important players like Rebic, Ibrahimovic, Ibrahim Diaz, etc. No goals conceded in the last 6 games. Only 5 goals scored in the last 6 games. This is not a game that Milan can go there and hope to win 1-0, although they are the best away team alongside Napoli. Milan. They have been the best away team last season as well. Best attack away for Milan, 33 goal score alongside Sassuolo. So if you look normally at the previous encounters between these two teams, 5 of the last 6 games between these two teams have been over 2.5 goals, and Milan are 6-0 ahead this season. They won 2-0 in the league, 4-0 in the cup. Lazio won 3-0 at the Olimpico here last season. So I think it is going to be balanced, but I trust Milan to surprise us a little bit, although let's see what happens in the derby as well. I don't think they will be losing this one, or at least they won't be losing the first half. So that's why I go for an Asian handicap 0 in the first half, which pays 190.
Draw for Marco. Actually, we have many good games for draws. If you fancy the draw strategy, always pays well. We have many games in this match day that are likely to end up in a draw. Both teams to score for Teboga. That pays 1.7. Last game, Danny. Sassuolo, Juve, we spoke before about Juventus and their problems, and I guess this one is going to be a tough game in Torino. They lost actually against Sassuolo at home. Sassuolo, they are very good. They won the last 3 games, Atalanta and Fiorentina included. So this one is very tricky for Juventus. Another good opportunity to back an underdog.
It is tricky, also considering how well Sassuolo have done against top teams. And of course, they travel to Cagliari. They don't score. They always score away. They don't score. They ruin my ACCA and they lose. They were missing Berardi at Cagliari. I think maybe they were missing a little bit of motivation. They are playing for nothing, really, Sassuolo. And their season have been excellent so far. Yes, of course, they won their reverse fixture in the last minute, but that was when Juventus were in the middle of a crisis. Top scorers, Sassuolo, in the Girone di Ritorno, so the second round of fixture, 28 goal score, although they didn't score. At Cagliari, the third best attack overall, and this is Sassuolo, against the 10th best attack overall, which is Juventus. It's surprising if you think about it. They won the last 3 at home. Sassuolo, as I said, they're always very good against top teams. At home, they beat Fiorentina, Lazio, Atalanta this season. They score 2 against Napoli, 2 against Roma, they must pay without losing. So you can expect them to go for it. You can expect to not minding too much conceding a goal. They know they can score with those 4 up front, especially Traoré in great form. But Juventus, okay, despite the disappointing 1-1 against Bologna, which take them out of the fight for the title, they are top of the league in the last 14 fixtures. But as I said, the problem is they don't score enough goals. Very rarely they score more than 2 goals in a season. 10th attack of Serie A, only 3 more than Udinese. So if Udinese scored 3 goals against Salernitana on Wednesday, they are level with Udinese. Same black and white shirts, but you wouldn't expect really to score the same number of goals. But anyway, so Juventus have won the last 3 games away from home. They scored 15 in the last 7. So they tend to score a little bit more since Vlahovic is there when they play away. Last 9 games between Sassuolo and Juventus have been all over 2.5 goals. Of course, there is even a 7-0 win for Juventus, and 7 out of the last 9 games between Sassuolo and Juventus, both to score. You say, where do you find all these good stats? On the Oddspedia website. Of course, I don't spend the night calculating. It's all done for you there. So, hence, I'm going to go for a mini ACCA over 2.5 goals and both to score, 294.
Yes, as Teboga is telling us, actually, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. You are right, Danny.
You must have been on Oddspedia as well. You must have seen the website.
Exactly. We have all these stats because if you don't combine them, the odds for over 2.5 goals is a bit low. It's 1.7 because everything that you said, Danny. Wow, long video because we had to analyze many games. Coppa Italia, Serie A. Remember, guys, to leave your comments with your tips, telling us your predictions, and let's end up this video with your ACCA, Danny.
Okay, ACCA only for the Serie A. Torino to take the lead against Spezia. Venezia, Atalanta. First half, 1x. Napoli to win. 170 that pays. Lazio, Milan, both team to score. Sassuolo, Juventus, over 2.5 goals. Total odds 14.
Cool, Danny. Thank you. Thanks everyone, of course, for enjoying Serie A with us. Danny knows all the stats and can give you a lot of information to place your bets or even to enjoy the Serie A. Danny, thanks. Thank you, everybody, and see you very soon.
Ciao, Edu. Speak soon. Bye-bye.